Good afternoon. All good, thank you.
Can I just ask you about confidence? Because we sat here 7 days ago and we were all wondering where the goals were going to come from, and then you go and score 3 wonderful goals at Molineux. What's that done for the confidence of the club this week?
Yes, especially for the offensive players. There's no replacement for goals, and to score goals and to be there with end products, with goals, with assists, is always very beneficial. And you could also feel it coming in the games before. So like when you're within the group with the hard work on the training pitch, and yes, of course. But then it's of course to have a moment in the game when you score 3 goals in a halftime is then very beneficial. It's not a guarantee that we keep further on, also like we're scoring 3 goals within 15 minutes, but it's definitely good also for the belief of my offensive players and the belief of the whole group. And there's no replacement for wins, there are no replacements for goals, and for that was definitely a good weekend for us.
And I guess now the challenge is to build a bit of momentum, especially against 2 sides, your next 2 home games, 3rd and 4th, Bournemouth and Tottenham. How difficult are they going to be?
Yes, we take game after game. So, of course, we know that we have 2 home games against 2 sides who will be really, really strong. And also we focus and concentrate right now on Bournemouth. We know that they've played a really good last season. They finished in the top half of the table, I think in position 9. Top start also, not just in terms of results, but also in terms of performances. Into this season, they fully deserve to be in the top 4 at the moment. They fully deserve also to be on the same amount of points like Arsenal, for example, on position 2. And even if you judge their first away game at Liverpool, they could also have won this game. It was a tight game, and just the last minutes were decisive. And they would sit even top of the table. And after 5 games, it's not the end of the season, but it's also no coincidence where you are then in the table. And it's a really good side. They play with lots of intensity. Andoni deserves lots of praise for the work that he's done. They're difficult to beat. They play with intensity and also with belief. Are capable to score goals, and for that we know they have spent the last years on Premier League level. They have developed more or less step by step. Also as a club and also as a team, and we know again we have to be at our very best in order to give ourselves a chance to win some points in this game. Yeah, like always as a newly promoted side, you're never really the favorite in a game, but we also know we're in a good shape. We had also a decent start into the season, and especially in home games, we are capable to win points no matter against who we play. So we are respectful. We know that Bournemouth will be a very difficult challenge for us, but we're also looking forward to have this game.
And how big a decision do you have to make about your goalkeeper? How's Lucas? Is he ready to play? And if so, have you had to decide whether it's him or Carl who plays?
No, it's not a difficult decision because Lucas has not joined us in team training yet. So for that, of course, Carl has great chances to play again. If he stays fit, he was excellent in the last couple of games, also in the last away game. Really pleased, not just with his saves, but also with his natural appearance on the pitch. And Lucas, we hope that he can join us at some point next week, latest, and hopefully over next week back in team training. So at the moment, it's realistic to say that he's not in contention before the international break. He was out also for 4 weeks. And also once he's back in team training, it doesn't mean that, okay, one training session and he's back to his best, and he will also need a bit of time. So I don't expect that he will be a topic for the squad then before the international break. But good progress in his rehab. He's doing also some work on the grass, but not back in team training. So I hope for at some point next week.
Nice to have 2 good goalkeepers.
I have 4. I'm pleased with all 4 of them. Also Ilham Melier and Alex Kern. So I'm really happy with our goalkeeping squad. I trust all of them, and I'm blessed with this. Yes.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Adam.
Hi, Daniel.
Hello.
Also on the injury front, Jane Bogle took. I think it was a stunt to the foot. It looked like that way.
Yeah.
What's the situation?
Yeah, overall, in terms of injuries, some mixed news. So with Jaden, good news. He's back, also back in team training. Thank God it was not a broken toe and nothing too serious. Just a bruise, was a bit sore and painful in the first days, but also since yesterday back in full team training. So he will be available if nothing major happens. Also Some good news with Daniel James, also progress in his rehab. Yesterday it was the first time that he joined us in team training. He has a chance to be involved. So depending on how his body reacts right now to the load of the training, so we'll take a late decision with him. And some bad news with Willy Gnonto, he won't make it. So still some problems with his calves. He's not back in team training, so he will definitely also miss a match. So some mixed news, I would say.
Is it both calves with Willy, or is it just one calf?
No, just a calf injury anyhow, and still some problems there. So I hope to have him back in team training next week, but during this week, no chance, and for that he will miss a game.
Can I ask you about set pieces? I get asked about a lot about. Do Leeds have a set piece coach? If not, why not? How do you sort it out? Who coaches set pieces? Where are you at with it? And how well have you measured your success or otherwise this season?
Yes, of course. So, of course, we have also our specialists who are concentrated on working with the lads. We had even last season also external companies that we also worked together with. So it's a very important topic for us to be successful. Otherwise, we wouldn't be there. The best team, set piece team in the last season. We have scored the most goals, and obviously on Premier League level, it's difficult to deliver it in this way. For example, at Wolves, I think we did not have one corner anymore, and it's also difficult to score out of a corner if you don't have one. But if you score 3 goals out of open play, it's also important. But set pieces are an important topic. Anton Stach's free kick is an example. We have also scored out of a penalty, and so dead ball situations are important for us. And I'm pretty pleased that we have good people working on it. And also last season, again, so no other team has scored so many corner goals like we did, although it was perhaps not our major strength with many small and tiny players on the pitch, and was not so much in the spotlight because we scored so many goals and also so many great taken team goals. But set pieces, like we also mentioned before the season started, for a newly promoted side even more important. And for that we have good people, yes.
Yeah, because in the past Leeds have had a guy called Gianni Vio, who people know about. I'm sure you do, Daniel. So it's fair to say that you don't have that individual that specialises at the club in set pieces. Is it a collective thing?
No, I think it would be disrespectful to label it that we don't have a specialist in this topic. But it's also like my assistant coach Edmund Riemer takes charge of it, and we have also promoted two of our guys who work in the background a bit more just on this topic, also out on the grass anyhow. But it's still a team effort, so it's not like I don't like. We have the tendency nowadays that each and every corner then the broadcasters have the name of the set piece coach, and then always his face is in the camera and he's celebrated anyhow. I don't believe in this. So it should still be in general my responsibility, and sometimes we have the tendency right now we produce some superstars that shouldn't be too much in the spotlight. Not criticizing any club anyhow, but I don't believe in this so much. I believe in people who do the hard work behind the scenes, and not like just to be in the spotlight each every set piece and jump forward that everyone can see their face. So I don't believe in this modern hype anyhow. If some clubs wants to do this and speak too much about this, then well done. For me, it's still important what the players do on the pitch. For me, it's still that the players should be in the spotlight and not even the manager anyhow celebrating too much anyhow, and then definitely not someone from the coaching staff or the backroom staff. So the players should be our superstars, because they are also the players who take the set pieces and score the goals. And for that, I don't believe too much in name dropping and then showing just someone's face in order to extend the height. I don't believe in this.
Sort of a different thing, but about being in the spotlight. This year, Sunderland seem to be making the headlines because they're doing, in points-wise, the best so far at promoted sides. What's it like being a little bit under the radar, and as a coach not being sort of under the big spotlight like you were last season because you're the Leeds coach, being the best team in the Championship? This year is different. What's that like for you?
So first of all, I've got the feeling as Leeds manager, you're never under the radar, because there are always so many talking points, and this club is very emotional. To be under the radar as a newly promoted side is normally a good sign, because it means you're not too much in negative spotlight anyhow. This is quite good. I would also prefer to fly in the spotlight. I would prefer to be top of the league right now, because it would mean we would be only on 15 points. I would take this rather than to be under the radar. But overall, I would say we've done really, really fantastic. Also regarding that we had already 3 away games, and on Saturday will be the first home game feels since like a month or whatever. And then under this circumstances to be already on 7 points is quite good. And we're on a good path. We had a decent start to the season, but it's also important that we deliver further on, also with consistency in winning points. And if we do so, I'm pretty sure then we'll also be a talking point in the future. And Leeds United will always be very emotional. It'll always be a talking point.
Thank you.
Sam? Hello again, Daniel. So in terms of away games, I think it's 1 in 5 that you've had at home over the past few, and I think you've got now 3 the next 4 at Elland Road. So what difference can or could that make?
Yes, but in the end, it's still that you have to play 19 games at home and 19 on the road. So of course, there are sometimes periods when you have a few more away games, a few more home games. I don't like to interpret too much into the fixture list, because you have to play each and every game, each and every team twice, one time at home, one time away. Of course, for a newly promoted side, especially to have a fortress at home is important. You need to win many, many points. We know that in general, as to stay in this league, you probably need 8 or 9 wins in order to do this, to stay there. And you want to win as many games at home, but it's also important that here and there you also pick up points on the road. And we had so far only 1 win. It's good, because I'm pretty sure it won't be that easy to have all the wins just at home. So it's important also to deliver with points and also with wins, like we did an important game for us at Wolves. It's good to have this first away win under our belt, but nevertheless, it's also important that we want to keep going at home. We know that, especially at Elland Road with our supporters, anyhow, it's of course you don't have to travel for the games. It's always slightly easier to play the games, but it's still the same game, still the same rules, still the same quality of the opponent. Even there, we have to make sure we are at our very, very best. But we know that, especially with the support of our home supporters and our Magic Elland Road, it's important that we win as many points as possible.
And you mentioned about the players being the superstars. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is someone who's spent a lot of time in the spotlight, but he's also spent probably more time recently out of it, struggling with injuries and getting back into the team. So how important was that goal for him at the weekend, and how has he been for you?
Yes, very important for him, and also a sign that he's on a good path. I have to say, from the day he walked in, he's brilliant with his attitude, with his character, also like his whole behavior in the dressing room, leading the young players, giving hints to, for example, Harry Gray in training. Very important, great teammate. Also with his experience, he's our most experienced player in terms of Premier League appearances, and for that he also tries, not in an artificial way, but in a natural way, step by step, also to overtake more responsibility in the dressing room. But the most important responsibility is still what you would deliver on the pitch, and what he has done so far. It's amazing, even in his short-term appearance in the beginning, but also right now, once he's back also in the starting lineup. Not just the goal, but also the workload, also like the physical data. And I have experienced with him a great guy who is also very on it, very professional, has not missed one training session so far, is always doing additional work. His really perfect data in terms of strength, in terms of the way he jumps, in terms of his body fat, and super professional. And if he keeps going like this, then he will be a very important player for us, not just for this season, but also for the mid and the long-term future. And we're all happy to have him.
Great.
You said earlier you're not favourites as a newly promoted side. How did you go about addressing that and the mindset with the players before the season, in terms of it might not be like it was last season in the Championship?
Yes, to speak open and honest also about it, and to pay even more attention on the details. Yes, and also it was for me also important to have during preseason, for example, many opponents from the top drawer. So we played teams from La Liga, from the Premier League, AC Milan we played. So we wanted to have this experience. Okay, it's not like we're dominating 80-90% possession. I think this was quite important also to have a good start into the season. I think we had a good decision with our fixture list for the preseason fixtures. And then it's more or less like, okay, right, we have experience right now how tight the games are, how high the individual quality of the opponents is. Also, the last game, I would say, we started on the front foot, dominated the first half, dominated the first minutes, but just with one situation, the opponent Wolves were able to punish us with a goal. So it's another reminder that just one situation, one small detail, if you're in one moment not switched on, this can be decisive on this level. And the best thing is always that you learn from a situation where you still win the game. And for that, also in this terms, I think the last game was quite beneficial. And for that, I think meanwhile, the lads are really aware how much attention you should put into each and every detail. So to keep the ball, for example, in the situation when we conceded the ball, not to give the ball a bit unnecessary away is crucial. To be aware of runnings in behind of the opponent even more than it was necessary on championship level. Even there, you could repair perhaps a mistake or a goal against you a bit quicker. Thank God we were also able to do this on this level in this last away game, but the highlighting the details and the importance of small situations is quite important, and I think the lads are well aware right now.
I'm sure they're well aware, but at the same time, I'm sure they really enjoy playing, being on the front foot, being dominant. So are there times when you have to remind them, or you just leave it to their professionalism to accept that this is the way it is for the second half? We might be under a lot of pressure.
No, it's also important that you, like I always mention, don't lose your DNA and don't lose also your approach that you want to play on the front foot. And I got the feeling so also like the first half, Wolves started really well, had great chance with Gabi Gudmundsson, yes, and we conceded the goal, but it was important to keep going and to believe in your approach. And and even I told them also at halftime, listen, it's not like we have to get nervous right now just because we are in lead. It's for us normal that we want to deliver this type of performances and that we're also dominant and are fully deserve to be in lead. We don't have to be nervous just because we create a chance and we think, oh great, we have created a chance on Premier League level or we scored a goal. It's more like, no, take it as normal. And it's also important not like to be nervous or to be scared once we are in lead and think, okay, right now we have to defend. No, of course you want to keep going and want to dominate further on the game. I told them at halftime, come on, also let's try to win also the second half and not like thinking, okay, right now we drop deeper and have to defend. But sometimes you also have to accept, just due to the quality of the opponent, like it was at Wolverhampton, it was not like a power play and they had chance after chance. But of course, because they went even a bit more for it, and then you have to concentrate perhaps even a bit more on defending. This is also important, but it's also in our post-match analysis something we spoke about, that perhaps we choose too often to go for a quick counter attack, and it was then quite often okay, they played around the cake and had the ball and were not able to create a chance, but they had the ball for 2-3 minutes and then we had the ball, and because there was lots of space we went for a counter attack, and if you don't score then pretty quick the opponent has the ball again. So also there the game management, sometimes to go a bit more for possession and dominating and recovering in possession and letting the opponent suffer a bit more. That was something that we were also, or I criticized a little bit about our second half, for example, at Wolverhampton. So it's still about, okay, we want to dominate games, we want to be good in possession, but sometimes also difficult just due to the quality of the opponents on this level. But to find a good mix is always important. Yes, that's right.
Hi Daniel. Can I ask you about one of your summer signings, Sebastiaan Bornauw? He hasn't been in the squad for the last 2 games. Is that due to any fitness issues, or is that purely just down to squad management?
Yes, and this was one of my toughest decisions so far, and it really has hurt me to not involve Sebastiaan in the last couple of match day squads. It's just due to the situation anyhow. So we have at the moment, I would say, 4 specialists on the centre back position, and if you're really honest, you have positions where you substitute, of course, a bit earlier especially on the winger position. So you have to deliver there in both directions, and it's very often that, especially on the winger positions, I change 2 times, or a bit like striker position, central midfield, perhaps sometimes on the fullback position, but a bit centre back position if there are no injuries or major incidents, I would say, or dangers of red cards or whatever, then you are not tempted to change too much on the centre back position. And for that, we can't afford in each every game to have 2 centre backs on the bench, because then we need more options in the central offense, on the winger positions, in central midfield. And quite often it's the case that if we just play with 2 centre backs with a 4-man formation, that we just can afford to have one specialist on the bench. And this was in the last games then Jakabiol. And this has hurt me so much, because I see the quality of, and also the character of Sebastiaan in each and every training session. It was just unlucky for him individually, great and beneficial for us as a team and as a club, that so far we've played with Joe Rodon and Pascal Struijk, and they were amazing. They have delivered top performances. And even a player like Jakabiol, who had also quite impressive preseason, just due to the fact that he missed the first game day due to the situation that he was not eligible. He was just on the bench so far. And with Sebastiaan, more or less, he has done nothing wrong. He has just a disadvantage that he had this long injury during preseason, and he didn't join us in one of our last preseason games. And then, obviously, then not in the first game days. And for that, just due to this fact, Joe, Pascal, and also Jaka, who has played more or less each every preseason game, and also has played for his national team already 2 games, over the full 90 minutes. He has the advantage of game time and being a bit more in his rhythm. But it's tough, because I see the quality of Sebastiaan in each every training session. I see also his character and how much he pushes for it, not just to be in the squad, but also to start, is exactly what we need anyhow. So he's a really, really good player, and we are there with not one problem so far on the centre-back position. He has to be patient a little bit, because can't blame any of the other guys, because they have rarely put a foot wrong. Even Jakabiol has not done a foot wrong, and would not be deserved to take Joe Rodon, Pascal Struijk or Jaka out at the moment. It's tough for Sebastiaan right now, because not to make it into the matchday squad for a player of his caliber is difficult, and it's one of the most difficult decisions at the moment. But this is how professional football works, and this is also what I value and cherish as a manager, to be in a situation when you even have to leave some top players out. So a bit like on the goalkeeper position, at least also on this position, we have not a problem, and I'm pretty blessed at the moment with top centre-back positions, yes.
Thank you. Sean Longstaff perhaps wouldn't have got the headlines of Wolves with the goals that have gone in, but I thought his on the ball and off the ball position was really, really good actually. Before the Newcastle game, you said we perhaps haven't seen the best of Sean yet. Since that time, have we seen the best of Sean?
To speak about the best as being perfect is always relative, because there is no perfect football match. Even if you're there with your top performance, there are always little details that you can improve. But it's fair to say that he has used the chance anyhow. So it was quite normal that he didn't come in his full rhythm and full confidence, because he has not played that much in the last season for Newcastle, and he needs a bit also pre-season to adapt. Also, especially for him, a player who has played since ages for just one club, and to adapt it to new circumstances, to a new life, to a different approach. And he needed a bit time, and also in the first game days he needed a bit time. But I have to say, I have to give him lots of praise for his last performances. I think he was excellent. There's still way to improve. Also, before we concede the first goal, I think he could have done better in terms of being a bit more aware of this run in behind through the channel. So also, although I was happy with his performances, even in his game, there were also a few bits and pieces where he has to step up and can improve. And this was what all my central midfielders also have to do, because also in this area, Yeah, Grueff has hardly put a foot wrong once he played. Our Tanaka is right now back fit, also a very important player before his injury. So all my central midfielders, if it's Ethan, if it's Anton, if it's Sean, they know they have to deliver and have to keep going, because there are also other top players who have also all chances to be involved and are also pushing in training and also in short-term appearances to get more game time again. This is exactly the situation that you need more or less on each and every position, and also on the central midfield positions. They are pretty blessed at the moment, and I'm happy with Sean at the moment, yes.
Hey Daniel, Noah has clearly got the attributes to beat a man, commit a defender, go past somebody, score fantastic goals. Is it simply an occupational hazard that a winger of his quality may then lose the ball in places? And is that something as a manager you accept, that with brilliance and taking a chance and risks, you may then concede possession?
No, don't accept this. Is something what we address, and what I criticize also at halftime. I said, Noah, good in terms of going forward. Good, great goal, great taken goal, perfect timing, and also like he always looks sharp in his dribblings. But with the back to the opponent's goal, we have to be a bit stronger. It's also like, he comes from a different league. Also, like, of course, it's more physical. Sometimes he's claiming too off for being fouled, and instead of adapting to British football to be really rock solid. Also, although it's pretty physical, and not to ask for help from the referee, also to help himself. Also, success rate in his dribblings can be better, but he has also proved that he can add end products, and also that he had I think a pretty mature first away game at Fulham, for example. First game day, I was pretty pleased in terms of being a goal threat. He has even stepped up in the last game, but he can also definitely step up also like in terms of keeping the ball better. And this is something what you also address and we speak about, honest about. So I don't let my standard drops, but we also have to see that, of course, he's also a player who takes naturally lots of risk. Of course, if you go for 1-on-1 duels, it's more or less like then you take lots of risk. He needs to find also better timing when to go for this risky dribbling, when perhaps to keep it simple and just to use his body. And he has a good body to keep the ball better. But nevertheless, for the first game days, I was pleased with his performances also in terms of what he has put into our game, and in his physical data, it was on an okay level, but there's still room and space for improvement, yes.
Funny you mentioned winning fouls. So I think only 5 teams have won more fouls than Leeds this season. Have you asked the players to maybe be more intelligent with where they win fouls and how they win fouls in order to steer the direction of the game?
On the one hand, I don't speak too much about being smart and getting fouls, because I'm a big believer in I don't like diving at all. This is why I love English football so much, and the Premier League should be known as for allowing more physicality, and I think it's a big advantage for us also in the competition that we allow really this physical intense league. And I like also that there are not too many fouls given, and I also don't want to encourage my players to dive or whatever. I always speak about them. Come on, don't ask the referee for help. Win the duels. This is my first and foremost claim. But it's also due to the fact that, of course, we want to go for it. And sometimes if you create good attacks, like before the goal, for example, it's also that it's natural that the opponent just has a chance to stop our attack with a foul. If Brennan drives forward and plays the ball in the right moment, to Dominic, then of course it's more like instead of letting Dominic go into the opponent's box, they need to take a foul. It's more like to force it is important. Or when I think about the dribbles of Anton Stach, to go forward really physical, sometimes the only chance for the opponent is to be there with a foul. And I think in this terms we are also on a good path. It's a sign of our quality and also of our offensive strength that you get many fouls, but it's still I'm someone who wants to win the duels on the pitch instead of going too much for being fouled.
Thank you. Can we turn cameras off, please, because we're going to move on to the embargo section, if that's all right.